Hello everyone, this is KenBroTech from KenBroTech and welcome back. So in this part of the tutorial, we are going to work with the products view. Okay, this session over here. We are going to see how we can read or fetch data from our database and display them here. We are also going to see how we can add data through this interface right over here. Then we are also going to perform the basic CRUD functionality I'm going to speak about very shortly. So we'll learn how to delete an item from the database or edit an item based on what we've added from this session. So first of all, let me open the admin panel so that we see exactly what we have at our back end. So at our back end, we have products over here. And this is what we did when we wanted to add in data. So this is the kind of data we have in here. And we are not seeing them here because we haven't connected or we haven't written queries to see that. But even before we go into that detail, let me also show you something briefly. So there's a UML, a concept in software engineering principle, which kind of interprets the functionality that we are going to have in the form of a diagram so that it makes things very easy for us. So what we have over here is we have two instances of a user for our application. So there's our inventory management system, and we can have an admin and we can have a staff. It doesn't matter where you place them. They can be on the same side, but the most important thing is where they connect to as far as these nodes are concerned. So what you have over here is some kind of activity that they can perform. So for instance, an admin can create products, okay, but a staff cannot create products, or a staff cannot add a product onto the database. But then an admin can do that. An admin can update and an admin can delete a product from the database. Now, we also see that a staff can make a request. So for the purpose of this application, an admin cannot make a request. It is only a staff who can make a request. A staff can view the products, all the products, same as the admin can also view all the products. A staff over here can view his or her profile. An admin can also view his or her profile. But we can see that an admin can view all profiles. So an admin can view his profile in addition to all the profile from all the staffs. If there are about 20 staffs within the system, an admin has those privileges to view all those profiles. Now, an admin can also assign privileges to certain users so that they can also either become admins or can perform some kind of functionality within the web application. So having said this, remember we've already logged in as an admin over here. So let me just log out and log in. We have admin1. And this is my password. So if I log in, this is an admin. When I come to products, like you saw over there, an admin can add a product, an admin can delete a product, an admin can edit a product. We are going to see the functionalities very soon and things of that sort. Good. So this is with the admin. But then if we should log out and log in as a user, so I have a user by name Mary, and I'll type in the password of Mary. So when I log in as Mary, these are all static data. We are not getting anything from the database. We are going to work with this very soon. So as you can see, Mary right at the back of the interface Mary cannot do an addition of a product or a deletion or things of that sort. But then Mary can make in a request, and that's how we designed this application. So let's come back here into our admin dashboard. And let's go to product. So this is where we are going to write the logic we need to implement some of these things. So first of all, let's look at how we can fetch data from our database and read them. So as far as the Django architecture framework is concerned, if we would want to interact with a database, we definitely need to write in some SQL as far as talking to our database is concerned. Yes, we can do same with Django, but then we have other alternatives, and the alternative we use, pretty much the standard over here, is the ORM. So ORM stands for Object Relational Mapping. Remember, the items we have in here are the objects, okay? So there's some kind of mapping, or there's some kind of relationship between the objects, and Django has a way of mapping it for us. So let's say we have these products within our database, and we have these categories and these quantities. We are most likely going to make a database query, and a database query is simply the way we interact with our database. So how we interact with our database. We either want to see something from the database or we want to add something to the database. I mean, an object or a product to the database. We also want to delete something from the database, or perhaps we've already added something, but now we want to edit. And conventionally, database queries are associated to CRUD functionalities. So the CRUD we see over here, CRUD, is an acronym that stands for create, read, or retrieve, as some people may want to call it, update, and delete. So now, basically, this is everything you might be doing with any web application so far on the internet. There are other functionalities, but then these are the core fundamental ones. So take Twitter, take Instagram, take YouTube, take Facebook, for instance. So now let's go to Facebook, or assuming we go to Facebook, we can create a post. Okay, so what's on your mind? Okay, the weather is too hot. Then you post it. You've created some kind of data. It has been saved in a database, so you have created it. Then you can read what other people have created or what you have created yourself. So you can go back to your profile and go and read. Remember, you added the name, where you work, and things of that sort. You can also update. So for instance, you were working with company A, you've now moved, you've changed location, things of that sort. So you want to edit or update your profile, and that's essentially what you do over there. Then you can as well delete something. So maybe you write in something, post in a comment, and you find that, well, this may be a little bit irresponsible, or maybe it was a mistake, maybe a typo. You can delete. So primarily that's what you do with, I mean, the biggest of all applications. And this is what we are going to implement as far as database interactions are concerned. So in most cases, we are going to write a query set. So a query set represents the collection of objects of a particular model accessed from the database based on a given criteria. We are going to see some of these things very soon. So over here, by using the ORM, we can declare a variable over here. So this variable is normally going to be the query set. So the variable to hold data, what you want to collect from the database. Using the ORM, you can write Product.objects.all. So this product you see over here is going to be the model name. Remember, we have three models. We have the model for products, we have model for order, and we have model for profile. And of course, the user model is already inbuilt, given to us. So you can also use that as well. So we can have the model name .objects.all. So this .all method will collect or will fetch all the data within that model we specified over here and save it in the variable that we are using to represent the query set. We are going to see examples very soon. Then we can also use the .get method. So this .get method will get a particular object based on some parameters we are going to specify in here. And in most cases, we are going to get by maybe the first name or the ID number or things of that sort. Then we can also have the .filter. So remember, we have categories in there. We have stationery, we have food, and we have electronics. So we can filter based on those categories, and we are going to see examples as we move along. Then we can also have a query set where we are using the exclude. So we are deliberate about excluding something. We don't want to fetch that particular thing. We are going to see examples as we move along. So this is just a brief description of everything I've spoken about. The ORM stands for Object Relational Mapping. So if you want to retrieve all data or all objects from the database, we can do the model name.objects.all. So here, for example, we have Product.objects.all, retrieving a specific object with filter. So you can filter through a category or some parameter we stated as far as the design of our model is concerned. We can also retrieve. Okay, so this is just a repetition of this. All right, so we are going to end here and switch into VS Code and see how we can make good use of these ORM that I spoke about. So the first thing I would want us to look at is the read functionality as far as the CRUD is concerned. So we are going to write in some query sets, some logic within our product view. Remember, this is with our product view. So I'm going to come into VS Code, and first of all, let me close all these over here. Good. So I'm going to go into our dashboard app folder. I'll go into views, and here we have products. So you can start typing in some logic here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the very top over here and run an import. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say from the current models, I want to import product so that we can have access to this product model over here and work with it. So I'll come in here and I'll put up a query set over here. So we are going to look at two things, okay, or how we can use different methods. So let's say we have, this is going to be our query set, okay. I mean, it is going to be a variable. So this is our query set items, and we want to collect all the items from the product model and bring it inside this item variable over here, or query set over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say product, which is the model name dot objects.all. Now if I do this, we are going to have everything in here. But before we do this, we are going to look at other options as well. But then let me come in here and come and pass in a context dictionary. We've seen this before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in items over here. So this is going to be our key and our value is going to be items. All right, let me bring the trailing comma over here. And what I need to do is to now pass in the context inside the return value over here. So this line of code is actually going to collect everything we have in our product model, okay. And this is our product model. Once again, when we go into products, these are the items we have. We have HP laptop, bag of rice, and ball pen with these categories and quantities. So what we have as far as this query set is concerned, we want to collect everything from the product model and save it over here. We now have this context dictionary over here, and now we can have access to it in this product.html over here. Now this is going to work, but then before we look at this, let me show you this. We can have items, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say product.objects, and I'm going to say .raw. Now as far as this .raw is concerned, this .raw will then allow us to write in normal SQL. So when I say normal SQL, the normal SQL that we know. So as far as the normal SQL is concerned, if you want to collect everything from products, we can actually say select all, and this all is going to be star. Select all from. So where do you want to select all from? Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say dashboard underscore products. So let me close this up so that we have this on one line and see. Now this is the normal query SQL that we know, but this is looking a little bit different. Now as far as the Django architectural framework is concerned, what we have over here on line 22, as far as this dashboard underscore product is concerned, is if you want to touch on a particular table in a database, then we have to first of all put out the name of the application underscore the name of the model. Okay, that's the convention it uses over here. But then as far as this is concerned, this is going to work. So I'm going to save this, and if I come here and come and refresh, we are not going to see anything over here yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my templates and I'll go into products.html, and this is where you want products display. So first of all, I'm just going to collapse everything I have over here. For the table rows, I'll clear everything. I'm going to show you exactly how things will look like. So if I clear everything over here and come and refresh, yes, this is just what I want. I just want one row over here, and that's what we see over here. So we have just one row over here, and now we want to render data over here instead of just this static data. So we are going to use a for loop. So this is for the table body. We just leave this as it stands because these are the headings. So just before the row, we are going to put out a template tag over here. So we've seen this before, and the template tag will enable us to write Python logic or Python codes over here. So I'm going to say for item in items, and it is prudent immediately you write your for or your logic, you need to come and end it over here. So I'll say end for. All right, so this is going to work. Now, where am I getting these items from? These items are being fetched from the database. So as far as loops are concerned, this is the new variable we are declaring that we want to use, and this is what we are fetching from the items over here. Okay, you can have also done from items in items, it doesn't matter. So I'm just using from item in items. Then what I want to see over here is data, so I'll use a double curly brackets. Then I'll say item dot name. So when I do item dot name, where am I getting this name from? Let's go into our models, and we can see that as far as product is concerned, we can have name, category, and quantity. So that's what we are assessing over here. So you can have name, category, and quantity. So I'm also going to do same over here. I'm going to say item dot category, and this category is small letter C. And finally, I'm going to do item dot quantity. So when I save this and come back here to come and refresh, we are going to see that yes, we are getting in the data from the database itself. Okay, so we have HP laptop, bag of rice, and ball pen marker. We have this has been reversed. Okay, so you have ball pen marker, bag of rice, and HP laptop over here. All right, so right over here we can add in a new product. For the new product, I'm going to say coffee cappuccino, and there's going to be a category of food, and the quantity I'm going to say 200. So when I save this, right from the back end, if I should come here and come and refresh, we are going to fetch it over here. So this works. Okay, so as you can see, we've actually written let me close this. We've actually written SQL code over here. Like I said, this is going to work. This is also going to work. The first one I had over here, as far as using the ORM is concerned. So let me put out a comment over here, and I'll say using ORM. Okay, the object relational mapping method is what we have. And right at the back of this, clearly the ORM is a little bit short in terms of the number of things you should write, and it's quite descriptive because we are saying Product.objects.all. It's very simple, makes a lot of sense than coming to say .raw, and inside here you are going to write SQL code over here. I think this is better. So we are going to use this, and when I save and come back here to come and refresh, yes, we are still getting our data over here because this is, I mean, eventually the same thing. Okay, so moving forward, we are going to use the ORM instead of the raw SQL commands. All right, so clearly we are done with one aspect of it. So we are done with the reading. Okay, so we can actually read something from the database as we have over here. Now let's look at how we can add a product over here. Now you've seen this before in a different way. Remember when we were doing the registration, it was also an act of adding something onto the database. So you're going to apply the same logic over here. So in order to make things work properly, we are going to create a form in here. Remember the registration, we had a form, so we're also going to have a form over here. So I'm going to create a forms.py module over here. Then inside forms.py, I'm going to say or I'm going to run this import. So from Django, I want to import forms. Then I want to create a form for products. So I'm also going to import the products model over here so that I can work with it. So I'm going to say from the current models, I want to import products. So I'm going to create in a class, and I'm going to call this products. I'm going to call this product form, and I'm going to inherit from forms dot model form. So this is going to be very simple. we are going to have a class meta, and we've seen this before, and it takes in at least 2 parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the model, and this answers the question, which model do you want to create this model form for? And the model is going to be products, and that's the reason why we imported products over here. And we also need to specify the fields. So I'm going to put out a list over here, and as far as the fields are concerned, let's come into our model over here. So clearly you can see that I want something for name, we want something for category, and we also want something for quantity. And that's essentially what we have over here. So that we can have something for name, quantity, and category. So we are going to go back into forms.py, and I'm going to say name, and I'm going to say category over here. And last but not the least, I'm going to have quantity. So I have this over here. All right, and I think that's just about it. So we come back into our views and we import the forms.py module we just created over here. So I'm going to say from the current forms, I want to import, and I want to import the products form that we just created over here. Now remember, this form is still going to be on the products URL, so we are still going to have it inside here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here and write the logic that we need. And okay, so before we continue, let's go to this product.html and kind of see things work out properly. So this is what we have. This is where the form is. Okay, so add product, and this is some kind of static data we put in over here. But since we are going to render a form, I'm just going to clear this. Okay, so I'll clear this. All right, and you've seen forms before, we worked with forms before, so when I refresh, you are clearly going to see that we don't have those things over there. So I'm also going to clear this and use a method of post, because we are adding data. So for the method, I'm going to say post, and let's start with the logic over here. So inside views, I'm going to say if request dot method is equal to post. So if the request dot method is equal to post, then the form that we want to render should be equal to the product form that we just imported, and we want to grab in the request dot post over here. Else we just want to render the form empty over here. So we want to say the product form as we have over here. Then what I can do is I can now pass in the form variable we just created over here inside the context dictionary. And this is why we need a context dictionary, so that with just this name passed over here, you can have access to the items, which has to do with the logic we have over here and the form that we are trying to implement over here. So if I do this and come back here and refresh, we are not going to see anything yet because we haven't passed in the form in here. So we can come in here, and since the form is behaving like some kind of data, we can just, let me clear things up over here. So we can just put out this form over here. So when I save and come back to come and refresh, now you can see that we have this form over here. It looks crooked. We are going to style it, and we know how to style things up over here. So first off, let me just open things up over here, and let's go to, I think, the register.html. We have this load crispy form tag over here. Let's just copy this. So Control C, bring it up over here. And all that we need to do is to pass in the crispy filter. So I covered this extensively in I think some of the previous videos, so I think it will do you a lot of good if you watch out or check out those videos. So just after doing this, if I come back over here, you can see that our form is neatly styled over here. We have the categories that we would want to work with as far as our model is concerned. Now we are not quite done as far as the logic is concerned. So all that you said is if the request.method is equal to post, we want to render this form. All right. So now let's continue. And I'm going to say if the form dot is underscore valid. So we are calling the valid or the is underscore valid method over here. If it is valid, then I want to say form dot save. So form dot save, and I want to return redirect. Okay, so you don't have redirect over here. We come to the very top over here, and redirect is in shortcuts. So we import redirect over here. We've seen this, or we saw this when we were working with the register. That's why I'm moving a little bit fast over here. So I'll call this redirect. And where do we want to redirect to after saving? Perhaps after saving, we still want to remain on this form. So we are just going to put in the URL for products. And the URL for products, I think that should be somewhere here. So as far as product is concerned, I think it should be dashboard underscore products. Let me go to the, yeah, so that's dashboard underscore products. So let me just copy this, Control C, and I'll just have to paste it over here. All right, and I think that's just about it as far as our creating of data is concerned. So let me come back here, come and refresh, and now we want to create it and see it's listed over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Samsung TV, and Samsung TV is a category of electronics. Okay, and the quantity, let's say we have 40 of them. So when I click on add products, yes, we are getting this very good error over here. So it says CSRF token missing or incorrect, and that's simply because we didn't pass a CSRF token over here. So this is a security feature, so we need to come and pass it over here, CSRF underscore token. So when I save this and go back here and let me refresh, so let me have Samsung TV, the category is electronics, and the quantity we want to add 40 in here. So when I click on add, now you can see that you have Samsung TV is of category of electronics, and we have 40 in over here. If I come and refresh, we're also going to see Samsung electronics and category 40. So we've accomplished two things over here as far as the CRUD functionality is concerned. We've looked at the read, and that's what we are seeing over here. We are retrieving or we are reading data over here. Now we've also seen create, because we are creating data into our database. Now let's look at delete and edit. And delete and edit is also going to lead us to some interesting things. So as far as those ones are concerned, I'll come in here and let me close these once again. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create new views over here, because these are also going to implement some kind of logic. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this function, then I'll call this product. I'll call this product underscore delete. And this is going to take in a request. We've seen this before, and for now let's return render, and you pass in request over here, and the name of the template is going to be in dashboard / and we are going to say products underscore delete .html. So we are looking at the delete first, and later on we are going to look at the edit or the update function. So after writing this, you also have to create in a URL for it. But as far as the delete is concerned, now see what we are going to have over here. We are going to delete a particular item, okay, and not just all of them. We can actually look at how we can delete all of them, but then in this case we are going to delete a particular item. So there's a way we have to grab that particular item. So what I'm going to do over here, and I'm going to explain, we're going to pass in another parameter we are going to call pk, and pk is going to be the primary key of that particular item we want to grab. So as far as the query sets go, I'm going to have a variable called item, and I'm going to say product because I want to pick a product in there. So Product.objects.get. And now the question is, okay, now we are not using .all over here as we used over here because we don't want to grab everything. Okay, we want to get a particular item. And what do you want to get? We want to get it by the ID. So the ID should now be equal to the primary key. And this is a primary key I'm passing in over here as a variable. Okay, I can say ID is equal to ID. Okay, so this is what I have. So now if I do this, then clearly we can see that, okay, we are grabbing a particular item in here. So now we have this. We are not quite done yet. Let's go to our urls.py. Because remember, you've created a view, a function over here. We need to create a corresponding URL for it so that it will be able to work with it. So it's also going to be like the product view or URL we have over here. So I'm just going to copy this and duplicate this and change in some few things over here. So I'll do Ctrl+C and I'll paste it just beneath it. So I want to go into a route slash and I'll say delete. I'm going to add some few things over here. So this is going to be, the view is going to be product delete, and the name of the URL is going to be dashboard-product-delete, so that we have an extension over there. So now you said we are going to pass in our primary key. Remember, this request is going to be the product/delete we are going to pass in. So if you are going to pass in the primary key, then we also need to bring that primary key inside our URL. So what we are going to use is we are going to use the angle brackets over here, and I'm going to say int and a colon and pk, and I'm going to end the trailing slash over here. So this int is basically saying that this key or this value we are passing in is going to be an integer value. Okay, so that's what we have over here. Now when I save this and come in here and come and do delete, okay, let's just see something over here. When we do delete, it says out no, it doesn't see anything like this. And let's say we do delete / let's say 9, it says out product matching query sets, query does not exist. So now let's come back here. Now when I hover around this, okay, when I hover around this, just by hovering around this, at the very bottom over here, we can see that we have product / and we have some number over here. Okay, or even when I click on it, we can see that we have this product /1. Okay, so now let's change this to 1. And if I do, we can see that it says, oh, template does not exist at this. Okay, so clearly the route is working, but then we haven't created any template for it. And it's true, we haven't created any template. So remember, in our views, we said we are going to render this product_delete.html. We haven't created that one yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create that template. So that template is going to be product_delete.html. So with this particular template, we are also going to have these ones over here. So let me just copy this, Ctrl+C, and come in here, come and paste them, and end my block content over here. So I'll say end block. So when I save this and I'll come back to come and refresh, we can see that yes, it is able to see some few things over here as far as our delete is concerned. All right, so now let's come back. So we also need to pass in a form over here. So what I'm going to do is we have, and we are going to create this very simple. We have a container class over here. Okay, so as far as this container class goes, let me just quickly run this over here. So I have a row, and I have a call MD6, and we have a border, and I'm going to have an H3, and I'll say delete item. So let's say we have delete page, then I'm going to have an HR over here, and let's have a BG white, and let's have a P3 over here, and let's have a margin top of 5, and let's do an offset of MD3 so that we position this inside the middle. I think we've seen this before, so we are going to see, what we are actually doing very soon. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in a div over here, and the class is going to be an alert. So I have alert, and I'll choose danger, and I'm going to just put in an h4 tag over here, and I'll say, are you sure you want to delete? All right, so are you sure you want to delete? And there's going to be a yes or a no, but then this yes or a no is going to be in a form. So I'm going to have this, and first of all, let me choose a method of post, and let me have an input of type submit, and I'll say confirm, and let me put in some bootstrap classes over here. So I have btn, and I'll choose danger over here, and let's just have our form over here, and CSRF token in here. All right, so let's kind of see exactly what's happening over here. So let's do a / delete and a /1. All right, okay, so delete item. Are you sure you want to delete? Confirm. Okay, so now let's bring a cancel link over here, and this is going to link. So let's do cancel. So we want to go back to the product page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a template tag over here, URL, and this is going to be dashboard - product. So when I save this, I think this is good. Okay, so let's add the bootstrap classes over here, and we have btn secondary. So when I save this and come back here, all right, you have this. When I cancel, you go back here. All right, so I want the situation when I click on this, then we get to that particular page. So we are going to go into products because this is in the products, and we are going to render that URL inside the delete button. So if I should come back into products, product.html, and inside this table, that's where we have the delete button over here. So now this delete button should send us to that particular URL. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say URL, and the name we give that URL, if we should go back to our view, is go back to our URL, we have dashboard product delete. Okay, so I'll just copy this so that I don't make a mistake over here, paste it over here. Now when I save this and we try accessing it, we are going to have some problems over here. So it says reverse for delete or reverse for dashboard dash product dash delete with no arguments not found. Okay, so it was trying to access something, but then it wasn't finding the particular primary key we passed in our view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, and remember we are passing in item over here, so we can have item, or you can have access to the primary key. So you can say item.id. all right, so when I do item.id, now I can refresh, come into the dashboard, products, everything looks cool. Now when I click on delete, you can see that it passes it in over here. Okay, so I have delete /5. I can cancel this. When I click on this, I have delete /1. I'll cancel this, and you can see that everything is now working perfectly. So now we have this working. We are not quite done with our view over here, or our logic over here. So we are now just saying that yes, we want to grab that particular item, but then what do you want to do with it? So I'm going to say if the request dot method is equal to post. Okay, remember the request dot method is still post because we are having access to some kind of data in a database. I'm going to say item dot delete. So this is a method we are accessing over here, and we want to return a redirect because after deleting, we want to go back to the product page. So return redirects, and we want to have access to the dashboard /product. So let me save this, and I think our dev server is still running. We don't seem to have any problems over here. All right, so let me refresh this. Okay, so now let's try and delete, let's say the ball pen marker. So when I click on this and click on cancel, yes, I've canceled it. When I click on this and click on confirm, you can see that I don't have ball pen marker over here. The item has been deleted from the database. And if I should come back into my products over here, you can see that ball pen marker has been taken off. So clearly now we can add, and let me add another one. Let's say we have orange over here. Orange is a category of food, and let's say I have 1,000 oranges in here. So when I click on add, now I have orange here. If I should come back over here and come and refresh from the back end, we have orange here. Now we can delete orange. But then what if instead of typing in, let's say 100, we made a mistake and typed in 1,000? And that's where we need to come and edit some of the things we have over here. So now we are going to work with the edit functionality. Now the edit is almost going to be like what we did with the delete, okay, in terms of some of the things we did. So over here too, we are going to create a view over here, so, or a function. So I'm going to say products_updates, and this is also going to take in a request. And since I've explained this, we are also going to edit on a particular item. Okay, so you're also going to grab the primary key over here. Then I'm going to call, let's first of all return render, and I'll pass in a request, and the name of the template is going to be dashboard /product_updates.html. all right, so over here I'm going to pass in a context, but then we are going to look at it very soon. So let me just pass in the context over here, and let me close this up a little bit, and you have the context down here. All right, so we have this. We have our view over here. Let's go and create this HTML template over here. So this is almost going to be like the product deletes over here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this and change the name over here. So I'm going to rename this into a products updates.html. All right, so I have product.update.html. We are going to change some few things over here, but the most important thing for me now is to go and create the URL. So with the URL, I come into my dashboard, my application folder, come into urls.py, and this is also going to be like the product delete URL. So I'll just copy this and paste it over here and changing some few things over here. So I'll change in the update to delete, the delete to update. We are also going to grab the primary key. Then the name of the function is obviously going to change as well. So I'm going to choose product_delete, sorry, product_update function over there. Then I'm also going to change this to updates over here. So now you have the update URL working out. Now let's go into the product.html and also change this link over here. So from the edit, let me just copy this because I think it's almost the same. Control C and paste this over here. And I'll change the delete to updates. All right, so we can have this, and if I'm to refresh, so our dev server is down. Let's see exactly what's happening over here. It says product updates. Okay, it says the product/updates views the updates module dashboard of views has no attributes product updates. So let's come in here, dashboard of views. Okay, so I didn't save this, that's why, as you can see. So I'll do a Control S over here, and I think, yeah, it's working now. So let's come and refresh, and we don't seem to have any problem over here. So now when I click on delete, it takes me here. Now let's try and click on, okay, so the update to is working. We just have to change the things we have in over here. So for the updates, let's go to, let me just close these ones. So for the products updates view, or for the template, we don't want this. Are you sure you want to delete things over here? We get rid of this, and I'm going to say edit item, or you can choose to say update item. So when I refresh, I just want to visualize things very well. Okay, so now let's also change this to updates. Update, and let's make this info as far as the button is concerned. All right, so when I refresh, okay, so you have this. So now we are going to put in the form over here. So as far as the form goes, we'll come in here and come and write in some logic. So you are going to say if request dot method is equal to, and you've seen this before, if request dot method is equal to post, then the form will be equal to the product form. Okay, and we are going to grab the request dot post, else we are just going to render an empty form over here. So we are going to say the product form just as it is over here. So inside this context dictionary, I'm going to have form rendered over here. So this is going to be form, and yeah, I think that's just about it. So if I should come here and come and refresh, you can see that we have this form over here. It is not styled because we've not added in our crispy form tags. So we are going to put in the load crispy form, and I think I just have to come in here, copy this. So I'll do a Control C, and I'll paste this right over here and apply the filter in here. So the crispy filter is just going to be this crispy. So when I save this and come back over here, you can see that we have this that we would want to edit. Now remember when we were dealing with the profile edit page, okay, we already had what we wanted to edit pre-filled for us. Okay, but then if we come in here and click on edit, it is not pre-filled, and that's because we've not allowed it to be so. So we are going to add in I think just one line of code in order to get it pre-filled. So within the product updates page, as we have over here, I'm going to grab the item. So the item is going to be the Product.objects. And I'm going to use the .get method. Okay, we saw it over here, and we want to get the ID, which is equal to the primary key variable we pass in over here. And this is now going to be our instance. So I'm going to put out a comma over here, and I'm going to say instance is equal to the item. So the instance is going to be this item, and over here too, I'm going to say instance is equal to item. All right, so now let's see how this will look like. So when I save this and come back over here, let me come here first, go to products. And when I click on edit, remember this is bag of rice, food, and a quantity of 200. When I click on edit, we now have this pre-filled for us, and we can now start editing. So now let's cancel and let's complete our logic, because as it stands, if we edit anything and save, it is not going to work well. So down here, after grabbing it, I'm going to say if form, the form we just created, dot is valid. And you've seen this before. If it is valid, then we want to say form dot save. We are calling the dot save method over here, and we want to return a redirect. We want to return back to the product page, and the product page is going to be dashboard dash products, like this over here. Okay, so everything is working. Our dev server is working, and let's see if this will actually work. So let me refresh this. Okay, we are good to go. So now let's change bag of rice to, let's say, sack of rice, and change the quantity to 100. So I'm going to change the bag to sack. Okay, and the quantity of 200 to 100. Now when I click on cancel, it doesn't affect any change. Let me do it again, and we have sack of rice, and we are changing the quantity over here to 100. Now when I click on updates, you see that now we have sack of rice, we have the quantity 100 and things of that. So we can now edit anything we want to edit over here. So the Samsung, you made a mistake, it was supposed to be 400. When you click on updates, now you have Samsung TV 400 over here. Now if you should come here and come and refresh, but then we can now see that we have 400 instead of 40 over here. So now we can see that we are gradually moving there. We've seen how we can create, we've already seen how we can read, we've seen how we can delete, and we've also seen how we can edit. So this brings us to the end of this video. Now in this particular video, we've performed, or we've write logic to implement the basic CRUD functionalities as far as any application is concerned. Now we've seen how we can add, or we can create data. We've seen how we can read data, and that's what we are seeing over here. We've seen how we can delete data from the database, and of course we've also seen how we can edit data from our database. Now you find this tutorial very interesting. There are a couple of ways you can help me grow my channel. Kindly subscribe to KenBroTech, and don't forget to hit the notification button so that anytime I release a video, you'll be duly notified. Also share this video with friends and family who find this content very useful. At KenBroTech, we say learn programming, you can do it. Also don't forget to pass in a comment or ask any question that you so wish to ask. Thank you very much, and bye bye.